Find two terms which are very common in the whole Sikha, but they have different implications, one and the other. There are two phrases around the word Chadash, but the word Chadash means something new. We can talk in what we call a reflexive noun, absolute reflexive noun, and we can say Hitchadshut. The word Hitchadshut means a newness, but it doesn't mean an absolutely new entity. It means that in the entity there's a new vista and a new freshness and a new depth and a new dimension of appreciation and so on. Tainug and chayas and all those sort of things. That's called Hitchadshut. And then there's the word chidush. What chidush, at the first glance, looks to be just a more, how you might call it, easy way of saying hitchadshut, but it's not. The word chidush is a more direct noun from the word chadash. What chadash is an adjective, kamor, and chadash means new. So when I say chidush, I mean a concept of something new, meaning something that we haven't had before, something chadash, mashu new. But when I say hitchadshut, I don't mean that it's necessarily a new thing altogether. I just have a new freshness and a new vista, a new profundity in what I basically had before. So those are the two expressions, Hitchadshut and Chidud. And we're going to meet them very frequently in the Sikha. So I just felt it was necessary to make it clear.
It's not clear. Hitchadshut means?
I just explained what Hitchadshut means. Please forgive me. It's very hard for me to chazar over again. So he says, Arba Sugei Hitchadshut. The Rabbi is going to teach us at the beginning that there are four different types of what we just defined, Hitchadshut. Meaning, there's like a new vista and a new profundity and a whole newness in chayas in four different ways that can be pictured. And he says like this, that Chazal Omrim, our sages say, Shebechol yoim bo yoim, divrei Torah tzrichim liyos be'inei ha'odam ka chodoshim ki'ilu hayoim nitano. Now, where does that occur? Rashi brings that down b'shem ha-Sifri in Parsha Yisroi, and it's written on Vayom HaShlishi, B'chodesh HaShlishi, I'm sorry, in the third month, Vayom Hazeh Bo Midbar Sinai. So it's written Vayom Hazeh, but it doesn't say exactly which Yom, it just says Vayom Hazeh. So our sages learn out from that two things. They learn out that Gezer Shova, as it brought down in the Gemara, that Yom Hazeh means Rosh Chodesh, and that was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. And then in addition to that, the Sifri learns out from the fact it's written by Yom Hazeh, this day, meaning this day, Kipshute. So this day is like a way of talking to a person in the present. What that means is that on this day, we're going to always read in the Torah that expression, on this day, whenever we open the Torah at that place. So therefore, Rashi deducts from that, in the name of the Sifri, that comes to teach us that Divrei Torah must always be in your eyes new. So what does that mean? Like we just said, what does it mean they're going to be in your eyes every day as new? Your relationship to them has to be as if you're meeting them for the first time. Not necessarily that they're going to be every day demanded of you, that they're going to be different, but your relationship to them, is going to be new, as if you met them the first time, every day. So the Rebbe says in the Sikha, it's well known, the question, how can a man, when he's in the physical world, he's got all the bothers of material existence, and and he does this sort of thing every day anyway, and he learns these inyanim every day. How can he come to see them as new? What is the way to get that newness every day, as if you're meeting the Divrei Torah for the first time? So he says, "Mi'achav v'kol dover v'Torah hu amiti." Since everything what the Torah says is emes, amiti meaning genuine, 100%. That means that even things that the Torah demands of us are genuine in the sense that you can achieve them. And that means you don't have to be a great person, a person with unusual abilities, but you can, if you do what you're supposed to do, then you can achieve that. So therefore, since we're demanded by the Sifri that we should see every day the Divrei Torah to be new, therefore it's moving that that's a genuine thing. And therefore he said, moving she'im metzuvim ala odom, or metzavim, I'm sorry, she'im metzavim ala odom, li'shyachas lekach ba'ivon kozeh, that if we demand that the mensch relate to the Divrei Torah in this way, harizeh mishum shezehu be'emes kach, that you can achieve that, and you can be like that. You can see the Divrei Torah and experience them as a new thing every day. So he said, "Kamosh roim benusach birachas haTorah." So here, in order to get to this point, the Rabbi goes into a slightly different realm of argument. And he said, the demand of what Rashi writes, that's the demand of the Odom, that he relate to the Divrei Torah, kilo they're new. So he says, that's the loimed HaTorah. But he said, in order to make that demand, like we just said, real and emes, the truth is that the way the Eibishter gives Torah to us, he also gives it in that way. So in a way, he's creating a situation where if you just make the effort, then he's, as it were, prepared the whole situation for you. Because Hashem, when he gives the Torah, he gives it every day from the new. He doesn't necessarily alter the Torah, but he just gives it every day like a new giving. Mm-hmm. Yeah? In other words, and that means two things. That means that Hashem gives me like something new every day from him, and therefore it's much easier for me to relate to it as something new.
Shabbos. The same thing every week. I can't figure it out. Time changes.
And therefore it's much easier to relate to it as something new. Secondly, the Rebbe says that means that since the Eibishter created the world by looking into the Torah, as it brought down in the Zohar, also it's mashma in our Midrash, but certain mafurish in the Zohar like that, and that means that the way the Eibishter gives the Torah is that it's like something new that you've never had before every day. And that means that the whole world also is the same way, because the whole world is dependent on the Torah. If the way the Torah reaches us every day is like something new and demands of us a new relationship, so then the whole creation is the same way. And that's why, we say in the altar, he brings it in Shara Yichud, we just learned it in Shara Yichud, HaMachadesh B'Tuvei B'chol Yom Tomid Ma'aseh Bereishah, that the Eibishter renews every day the whole creation. So the Rebbe points out, why is that? Because he renews every day the Torah. Since he renews every day the Torah, then he renews the whole creation. Because the creation is a follow from the Torah. I'm just giving it a bit of background. So where do we see this? That the Eibishter gives everything every day like a new, not a new Torah, but he gives us a new giving of the Torah in a way that it's like we've never had it that way before. So the Rabbi says from that we see that from the nusach of birchas haTorah, that every day when we bless the Torah, we say to Hashem, Baruch atah Hashem, noisein haTorah. Shaloshen hi noisein haTorah, loshen hoive, which means that the Eibishter today is giving the Torah in the present. which means I gave it yesterday. So what he's saying, noisein haTorah, not on haTorah. If you say noisein haTorah, that means he must be giving you something that he didn't quite give you yesterday. The Rebbe said that's the proof that he's really giving you like a new vista and a new depth and a new relationship to the whole Torah. He said, "K'mo shayom, nesunim, noisamei." As if he were giving today from the new, like he was giving something new altogether. The Maisa says the Rebbe Nitan lechalek es ha'itchatshazu la'arba chalokim protiyim kedahalon. This concept that we're making here, which I defined at the beginning of the class, itchatshut, both benegir to the Torah and to the whole creation. He said one can divide that concept of itchatshut into four. That's a general concept, and it can be divided into four different, detailed headings or sugim or sorts. So he said, Aleph, number one, באופן כללי, התחדשות הפעולה של מתן תורה נעשית כל שנה מחדש בזמן הזה, חג מתן תורה. So the Rebbe says that we could say, באופן כללי, generally speaking, that every Chag HaShavuos, every Zman Matan Torah, it's a whole new giving of the Torah, it's a whole new presentation of the Torah. So the Rebbe says, how can we, how can we be so sure of that? So the Rebbe brings a proof from the famous statement of the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, in Igeres HaKodesh, chapter 14, what the Alter Rebbe writes over there in reference to Rosh Hashanah. And he said on Rosh Hashanah, every Rosh Hashanah, there's a new divine light comes into the world that's never been there before. And that's a general giving of a huge new divine light. And then he writes that every day of the year we draw in detail from that, but it's all new. It's all a level that hasn't been there before. So the Rebbe said, since Shavuos is also the Rosh Hashanah of the world, because it's the Torah, and the Torah was the Torah created the world. If like that, it's like that by the Rosh Hashanah of the world, then by the Rosh Hashanah of the Torah, b'vaday it's like that. So therefore he said it comes out that every Shavuos there's a whole new giving. It's the way the Eibishter gives now on this Shavuos, he's never given you before. And he said, and he said particularly if we base it on the principle of the Arizal, what the Arizal brings down, the famous biur on a verse in the Megillah, which says, Hayomim ha'elu nizkorim b'naisim, that these days are being remembered and they're being made. So the Arizal said, if you remember a certain day the right way, then it's made michadash. It all occurs like it occurred the first time. So the Rebbe said the same thing with Matan Torah. That every year, if you remember Matan Torah the proper way, then it's like a whole new Matan Torah. It starts all over again. So he says, "V'chol shana choizrim u'mesoyrim oisam inyonim she'iru b'yom zeh b'pam harishona b'shas Matan Torah atzmai." That all those things that happened on the first time, when there was the first giving of the Torah itself, then they reoccur every year on Shavuot. As we say, based on that club from the Alter Rabbi also. The Rebbe here, they don't mention it so much, but over there, the Rebbe brings it down. And then he says, Yishchadches, that's the first type, a general Yishchadches. Now he says, Yishchadches on Yishkeres, Hanasim, B'chol Yom V'Yom. He said there's a second type of Yishchadches, which we already mentioned at the beginning of the Sikha, at the beginning of the class, that there's a new Torah every day. We're demanded to relate to the Torah in a new way, because Hashem gives it to us in a new way every day. So he said it follows then that there's a itchadshut in the Torah every day. Olamaisa itchadshut zu bo mekoira shal itchadshut haklolius ashnosiyas anasis b'matan Torah. So he said those detailed every day, it's like a new Torah, but that comes And it's just details, like we said, from the general new giving that there was a Chag HaShavuos. In other words, Chag HaShavuos is like Rosh Hashanah. It's like a general giving of a whole new light that's never been before. And then we benefit every day from, we like draw on that from into details on every day of the year, which means that we're drawing from something which is essentially a renewed and a fresh and a whole new inyan, but every day it becomes real in our lives. And that's why it's possible to demand of a person that he should relate to the Torah newly every day, because in effect that's what it is. That's the truth. He said, just like it is, the renewness of the preservation and the existence of the world every day. Yeah, every day we say it's a new creation. So, what do we mean by that? He said, even Kloli, Nasas Yischachas, we call Rosh Hashanah. He said, the real Yischachas occurs on Rosh Hashanah. Ela, Shemikoicha, Shel Yischachas Kloli, Zu. From the Koicha, that general Yischachas on Rosh Hashanah, then we draw Zu Nasi, Yischachas HaProtiyas, B'chol Yom. Rosh Hashanah, it's a general thing, and every day it's a daily Yischachas drawn from that. In other words, one might compare it to, in a rather mundane way, to the idea of a huge bank account that's given to you on Rosh Hashanah, and then every day you write out your check, and every day you draw on that, but you draw from the general Karen, and the general Karen is something fresh. So when you write out, it's also each day a new freshness that wasn't there before in your life. So there was those two inyanim are linked together. Right? Now he says there's another Yischachas. He said a third one is Yischachas miyuchedes noisefet. There's an additional, very particular and very remarkable Yischachas, v'deima l'suga rishon ha'oma, which is like a whole new thing, and it's a general thing which occurs once a year. So he said, Yizu anasi b'shabbat sheli achrei matan Torah. He said, every year we come from Matan Torah to a Shabbat. Yeah? Matan Torah occurs between two Shabbos. Usually it's Bamidbar is between, and then the first one is Nasi. That's the way it was on this particular time. We over here in Eretz Yisrael, we have BEAHALOTHA now. But he said, first of all you have a Shabbos, then you have Matan Torah, then you have the Shabbos after Matan Torah. So he said the Shabbos after Matan Torah also introduces a whole new newness into the situation. So he says, how do we assume that there's like not only a continuation, but a whole new vista in the whole new vista that's there anyway on the Shabbos after Matan Torah? He said, how do I know that? So he says, Pasha Nosai. By us it's Pasha BEAHALOTHA, but by them it was Pasha Nosai. Amishpateis, Heim b'Parshas HaShavua. He said, V'heim b'Pirkei Avos shematchilim b'Machzor Hasheni lilmoed b'Shabbazu. He said that this can be seen and expressed in the actual Parsha itself, Pasha Nosai, and also in the Pirkei Avos, what we begin to learn, going around a second time already. And the Rabbi brings down what he stressed on numerous occasions, that the real minhag Chabad is to learn Pirkei Avos the whole summer, not just between Pesach and Shavuos, but the whole summer, like he announced it on several occasions, the Rabbi. And he said that's a genuine minhag Chabad. And so if you're already finished when you get to Shavuos the first time around, so he calls it the Machzor Hasheni. This is already the second time around. And so on the first Shabbos after Matan Torah, you begin with Pirkei Avos. So he said, what is written at the beginning of Pirkei Avos? Moshe kibel Torah miSinai. Yeah, Moshe kibel Torah miSinai. So the Rebbe says that Moshe kibel Torah miSinai is Matan Torah all over again. And he said, it's very well known, the famous Dion, why is it in the middle of Seder Nazikin? All of a sudden we start saying the whole, Seder of how the Torah was given, passed from this generation to that generation and so on. All of a sudden, Shalom Aleichem, is the simon that there's some Inyan that the way the Hashgacha Pratis makes it, that you always start the second time immediately after Shavuos, but that indicates that Shabbos, immediately after Shavuos, it got something to do with Moshe Kibbutz Torah Sinai. And if it's every year like that, then it must be like a new Inyan, it must bring some new factor. And then it says also that it's written, Nasoyes Reish B'nai Gershon. So the Rabbi said we find a very fascinating matter that Gershon was really the Bechor. He was the Bechor of the Levim, so Lechora, he should have been counted first. But Lamaisa, we counted the B'nai Kohos first, and we wrote by them Nasoi Ezreish B'nai Kohos. By the B'nai Gershon, we wrote also Nasoi Ezreish B'nai Gershon, Gamheim. Gamheim is much of them also. Over the is the B'nai Kohos, and by the B'nai Merori it's not written, not Nasai Rosh and not Gamheim. It's not just many, how many there were. So the Rebbe said there's a siman that there's a special inyan in the Nasias Rosh, and Nasias Rosh means to elevate your head. So how do you elevate your head? Says the Rebbe, through learning Torah. How does a yid elevate his head? And if he elevates his head, then his whole life goes, everything is centered around the head. So if you elevate your head, the whole of your life goes after the head. So he said, no, say as race. So he said, what elevates your head? Learning Torah. He said, the whole Ika factor in life, which elevates the whole life of the mentions Torah. So he said, therefore, the B'nai Kos, they had to be first. Because their job was to carry the Oren, they carried the Oren. He said, why that? Well, that's another reason. Why did he put the B'nai Kos before the Bechor? That's another reason. Oh, but they got the job of carrying the Torah, therefore they're first. And then it's written, B'nai Gershon Gamheim, they've also got a lot of milas. Oh, but their milas are only good if you learn Torah. If you're into Torah, then their milas are also good. And they also have a Nasias Rosh. And the Rebbe said that shows us that if you know the Rosh, you have the B'nai Kohos first, then that affects all the other Inyanim. He said, a feeler will say that the B'nai Gershon have got their milas. He said their milas is like tefillah and other Inyanim. He said your whole tefillah and everything is different if you learn Torah. If you're into Torah, that affects everything else. You understand? And by the B'nai Merori, why it's not mentioned not that and not that? Because they have a very basic and simple task, but that's what we call the Kroshim. And the Kroshim means like Amida, and Amida is bittul. But the B'nai Merori are essential to everything. They're the bittul to change yourself from one thing to another and to give yourself away altogether. So they're so important, they don't need to have all the details written about them. Yeah. Anyway, that's the picture. So there was the Rebbe's sins that's written. B'nai Gershon to lift up their heads, like we said, which means learning Torah. And the inner period is Matan Torah all over again. And Shabbos is the inner from Aliyah. Shabbos elevates everything. That there's an Aliyah even in your Matan Torah. On the Shabbos after Matan Torah, there's an Aliyah. And he said that's hinted at in all these Inyanim. So we're going to see a very fascinating Inyan, which is going to be come out, the Rebbe is going to bring out, that there's hidden in that Inyan on Shabbos, after Matan Torah, there's hidden what they call Chidush, not just Hitchachut. The Rebbe said Hitchachut is like a freshness, a new level, a new vista, a new relationship, a new chayas, a new giving, yeah. But he said Chidush is mamish a new thing. So we're going to see that on Shabbos there comes out a new inyan, which kilo, as it were, has been hidden up till now, something that never was really there before. That's what we're going to see. And now he says, what's the fourth type of Yischadshus? So he says, the V'shleisha Sugei Yischadshus HaKoidmim, in the three types of Yischadshus that we mentioned up till now, Adgoshi al Itzchadsha Shel Akayam. Yeah, we got something that's always there, but we get a new freshness in it. That's how I define for you the whole concept of Itzchadsha. We're talking about what we got, no, we're adding to it a whole new vista. He said, Oisa Torah shenitna kvar b'matan Torah nitna shuv b'chol yom u'b'chol shana ela shemilvad zeish yesh inyan neizav. So the Rabbi said, apart from all that, he said, there's an extra inyan lo yishchadshas ela chiddush. He said, it's not a inyan for a freshness and a newness and a new vista and a new depth and a new chayis and like a new giving to you. But he said, a chidush, I knew in him altogether. He said, in yonim chadoshim, amishchadshim b'Torah, shelo yinitnu b'pam harishayna. Oh, they weren't given b'pam harishayna. They're new things which come out. The Alter Rebbe said the Matan Torah is not going to be anymore. There's only one Matan Torah. But mashma that everything was given. So the Rebbe says, all these chidushei Torah which come out later in the generations following, they were all given, but they were behilim. They weren't begilot to anybody. They were called inside the kloli haTorah and inside other inyanim. And each Talmud, like the Medrash, Tanchuma brings a call, Masha Talmud Bosik, Osid Lechadesh. Yeah, that each experience Talmud is going to make a new chidush. Yeah, that means he's going to bring out something which was hidden inside the klolei haTorah or things of that nature. But it's called his chidush. Yeah, Talmud was it lechadesh. That's much more that he's actually bringing out that chidush. So the Rebbe said that there's two different madrigas in that also. There's like a chidush that to a certain extent had a certain relationship to Gilad, but it was hidden. And then there's a chiddush which Beklal was so hidden that it's like a completely new thing. And that's what Moshiach is going to be, Megala. And that's what Hashem is going to reveal in the Gula Midas Shlema. And therefore he says, Torah Chadosho Me'iti Teiteh. Me'iti, meaning from me. It's so high that only I'll be able to be Megala that. And it's called a Torah Chadosha. So we know there's no such thing as a Torah Chadosha. Yeah, that's going to be a Chidush so great that it was so hidden at the time of Matan Torah that it's going to be called Torah Chadosha. But that will come from the Eibishter himself, through Melech HaMashiach. So the Rabbi, that's the inyan of a chidush, not a hitchadshut. That's a new thing altogether, what nobody's been experiencing that up till now. And we're also going to see that on Shabbos, there's also a certain trace of that also on the Shabbos. But that he didn't say openly, but later it comes out in that. But however, that's the fourth great sage, and that occurs during the generations, that the certain Talmidim are able to make chidushei Torah, and that's also a new thing, but it's a relativity. It's not a complete and utter new thing. But on the time of Mashiach, it's going to be like a completely new in him altogether. And that's what he says now. Lo yishchadshas el chidur. In Yonim Chadoshim, Amishchadshim B'Torah, new things which come out newly in the Torah, Shelo Yinitnu B'Pam HaRishoyna. Now the Rabbi says that doesn't mean they weren't given, but they weren't given to anybody because nobody saw them or felt them. They were so hidden. So he said, Haloi, Hey Moisem Chidushi Torah, Hamishchadshim B'Meshech HaDeiros Kulam, Le'Mitosis Shel Torah. Those are the new Chidushim which are brought out by all the great students and great authorities during all the generations. They're all part of the emissary of Torah, but they were never really revealed there to anybody. And he's going to say, like I said, that that's going to be the ultimate offshot of Moshiach, that he's going to bring completely new things that are only from the Eibishter himself. So the Rebbe says, at first he says that those are the 4 different types of ischachas, and the last one is not really a ischachas but a chidush. And the third one also, as we'll see as we go along. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Because my voice is beginning to make me a bit of trouble. However, Yudua, she'avu pi shebamatan Torah nitna kvar kol inyonei Torah. He said it's well known, says the Rabbi, that even though on Matan Torah were given all the inyonei Torah, everything was given, koilo kol hachidushim, including all the new things, she'asidim lehischadesh b'meshech kol haTorah, v'yaseirim mizu, after Rosh Hashanah Mashiach, everything. Even the Torah of Mashiach was also given a Matan Torah. Shalei Anema, Torah Chadosha Me'iti Teita, that in reference to the Torah of Melech Mashiach, it's going to be called a new Torah. It's going to go out from me. So he says, he nitna, gam he nitna kvar b'Matan Torah. That was also given at Matan Torah. Ela shekol zeh nitan ba'eva klali. It was given in a general way that it sort of was, what you might use the expression, it was swallowed in amongst the general giving. It wasn't recognizable. Shakoya. Thanks very much. Shakoya, Yankman. Thanks. And it was sort of like absorbed in the, and the Rebbe says, Klali hatera shubehem nimtsoim kol oisi achidushim. It's very interesting that the Rebbe brings that the Orach HaKodesh in Pasha Tazria brings down, and it's also well known from the Chidor. He was one of the great Sephardic authorities, both the Orach HaKodesh and the Chidor were Sephardim. They bring down that you can't say that Moshe Rabbeinu in the 40 days that he was on the mountain, that he heard all of the protei dinim and all the sifris and all the madrasim and all the Shulchan Aruchs and all the Rambams and that Moshe Rabbeinu heard all of that. He said that's not shy to say. He said, however, what do we mean by saying Moshe Rabbeinu heard the whole Torah? That there are all sorts of general klalim that govern the way we learn things out. And these are very detailed, and there are many of them. If you look up in the Gemara, for example, Masechta Brachas, the Gemara brings down the 32 midas of Rabbi Yosef Glili, how we dosh, not just the 13 of Rabbi Shmuel. That's simple. He brings down another 32 klolim from Rabbi Yosef Glili, and then apart from that, there are many other kloli. Ashaz, what the Rambam brings them down in the Pirush to the Pirush HaMishnayos. And it's also brought in many Sfarim where they point out all sorts of amazing general rules. And Rashi also bases himself on all sorts of very general rules. But through them, we're able to darshan all the thousands of, I would say myriads of different droshes of our sages in all the different, in the Sifri and the Sifro and the Gemara and the Yerushalmi and the Medrash Rabbis and the Medrash Tanchuma. I mean, it's huge amount of material. That's because we have certain general rules. That's how the Orach HaKodesh describes it at length, and the Chidur and others develop on this idea. So the Rebbe is behind that idea. The Rebbe backs that concept, and the Rebbe said it's all in of Kloli, Torah, and Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a huge amount, even that is a huge amount of material. I mean, massive. So Moshe Rabbeinu, he gave over to the generations to come all those general rules, how to learn everything out from the Torah Shebiksav. It's a huge body of knowledge, but once you have that, you can reach all the details of the myriads of halachas and everything that exist in the Torah. Said the Rebbe, when we say that it's going to be a new Torah, we don't mean a new Torah, but it's called new because these were hidden inside these klolim. They're all there in the klolim, but it's not, you can't see it there in the klolim. But once it comes out, then it becomes like a new thing, like every the heroes. It's like a new thing, like every day, not just a freshness. in what they had already. So therefore the Rebbe said that's what every Talmud brings out during the generations. And he said Moshiach is going to be Mechadish, B'Shem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's going to be Chadish new inyanim that were hidden very profoundly in those Klolim, but they're going to be mamish new, and they're going to be so profound that they're going to need a Shem to tell them to Melech. They're going to come from a mi'iti, from me, meaning Hashem. So that's what the Rebbe says now. Koilo kol hachidush ha'asedin l'shchadish b'meshek ha'kol ha'teres, af terah she'toirosh shel Mashiach, she'alei hanem ha'terah chadosho, mi'iti teitzi, גם היא ניתנה כבר במתנתרא, אשר כל זה נדמה וכלולי. What does that mean? כלולי התרא שבהם נמצאים כל האיסם החדוד. Inside those general rules, but they're specific, but they're general. They have in themselves all those conditions. ובמשך התרא מתגלים. הדברים על ידי הלומדים. לומדים את התלמידים ועוסקים בלשון המדרש. he said, וזה גופה, יש כאילו בין חידושי התורה שמתגלים בזמן הזה, לבין אלה שהתגלו על ידי משיח. So the Rabbi said, in that whole picture itself, there's a difference between the new things in Torah which the Talmudim during the generation bring out, compared to what Mashiach is going to bring out. He said, there's that became a difference. I already made a bracha, but it was a bracha on something which I didn't really mean to drink.
Who wants to make a bracha for him? I'll make another bracha. Gafne, I'll make a bracha for you. I'll make a bracha for you.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה b'dvaro.
Amen. Shkoyach, that was a very nice idea. But בזה גופה, יש חילוש בין חידושי תורה שמתגלים בזמן הזה, לבין אלו שהתגלו על ידי משיח. Nonetheless, it's different. He said שהחידושים שבזמן הזה, these are new things. Yeah, he said, מתגלים כאמור על ידי הלומדים, the תלמידים, there are people who kochen sich in Torah, and they come to a new meaning. So he said, "Achatera chadosho shetitgaleh li ozid lovei, he b'dara kazu, it's on such an amazing level, shetitgaleh rak li ozid lovei. It will only be able to be revealed davka in the whole new atmosphere, which will be when Moshiach will come. Then that can be revealed. U'kapi shadova mudgas b'diyu chaloshon, Torah chadosha mi'iti teitze. The new level of Torah is going to come from me. Kalema, b'shoina meshach chelchei ha-Torah, she'asher b'vadai hi Torah shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'vadai all the different types and chalokim in the Torah, all of them are from the Eibishter. Aki yatzias adova, the going out into Gilui, mi'ahelem legilui, nasa al yidei Elohim. That's according to the Ika going out from that state of inclusion inside the general rules. Well, that's through a Talmud, whoever's learning that particular inyan. He said, Harei shekan avshiz galas sharatera zu tiye rak b'koyach shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu me'iti teitze davke. Slicha. Harei. From that you see that shekan, kan meaning the ultimate thing that's going to be revealed, me'iti teitze. Yeah, avshiz galas sharatera zu tiye rak b'koyach shel Mashiach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, mi'iti teitze b'davke. That's going to come from me, and its kilo is going to be only from me. During the generations, it can be something new, but it came through the basically simple people. B'zui ochein, yahadarga ha'naili b'yeza b'teira, sha'alei omru, Torah she'odam lo yimod b'zman hazeh hevel hu lifnei Torah shel Mashiach. It's a famous medrash in Koheles Rabbi. What the medrash says, that all the Torah we learn nowadays is like hot air. It's like hevel compared to the Torah that Hashem is going to teach us through Mashiach. There's a similar, it's going to be another thing altogether, and it's going to come only from him, and he's going to cause it to come out. During the generations, it's something new, but it came through what you might call the ordinary run of people. It came through people that were learning Torah hard and were schwitzing and working hard, and they gave forth these inyan. So the Rebbe deals with a certain point there, which I just want to stress because it's very important. The Rebbe deals there with a point that is it still working?
Yeah. We have to line it up, that's all.
You have to, it's sort of, you have to sort of elevate it.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
Thank
this.
you. No. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but it's just, it's leaning down a little bit.
It's okay.
Okay, good. Okay, so the Rebbe makes the following point. At the end of, near the end of Pirkei Avos, in the 6th parak, it's brought down that Kol ha'oima dova b'shem oimrei ki'ilu, lo ki'ilu, slicha, maybe geula li'olam. And we learn that from Esther, with Achashverosh, that she said b'shem Mordechai. And that's what brought the geula. So the Rebbe says from that we see a couple of things. That Kol ha'oima divrei Torah b'shem oimrei. So who is the oimrei of the Torah? Is the Eibishter. So what does it mean, Kol ha'oima b'shem oimrei? Well, that means that there can be a chiddush which really belongs to something. That he did actually bring machadish something. I'm telling you, it's leaning down too much. It's got to sort of be up a bit. Mm-hmm. That implies that there's a
Everything got rearranged and fell down.
okay, that implies that there's somebody who said this. So the Rebbe said that shows us that there are people that particular chiddush in Torah belongs to them. And if you say it, you have to say it in their name. And he said, then you bring geula li'olam. You bring geula to li'olam. However, the Rebbe said that doesn't necessarily mean the geula shlema. That means that there are all sorts of different difficulties and problems that a person faces, that communities face and the world faces, is if you give over divrei Torah that was nischadish alidei mishu and you attribute it to him, you're right. That's the right way to do it. And through that you bring geula le'olam. I'm not going into that now why, but let's say that's the case. You bring geula le'olam. But he said that's only a relative geula. That means that the world gets a good deal and better things happen better and things go better in your life and things that you didn't anticipate would go that way all of a sudden go well and all sorts of good sachen occur. But that's not mamish emasa geula. He said, however, when the Eibush is going to be giving over his chiddush, that's going to be only possible when it's going to be the emasa geula. And then, in the avir, how do you call it, in the atmosphere, at the emasa geula, then Hashem's going to give over his chiddush. So, Kamula here says the Rebbe, Gam habriya mischadeshes b'chol yom michadash. As we explained before, the whole creation becomes new every day. Yeah, it's created michadash. He said, "V'arei kivan shekol yisavas habriya hu b'koach haTorah." The Rebbe already made this point at the beginning, like I pointed out. He said that everything in the creation is dependent in Torah. He said, "Kedivrei Chazal she'aTorah hi dipatrois u'pidkasois." That's the lesson of the Medrash, not the Zoya. Dipatrois means technical drawings. The Eibishter looked into the drawings, the plans.
Blueprints.
Huh?
The blueprints.
Blueprints?
Blueprints.
Blueprints, very nice. Reuben, to patrois the Pinkas Oid, Yeshaloilum, the Torah is the blueprint of the world. Harei bechreach, Shishchatzes Oilum, Bo Gam, Hi Ketoitzua mi Shishchatzes B'Torah. Kalaima, Kashi Yesh Shishchatzes B'Torah, Az Yesh Shishchatzes B'Oilum. Well, that's a pelletic gesagt. Means that if everybody in the world just would learn the Torah the way they learned it yesterday, then could be the whole world's not going to hold out. It's a mufurish pasuk in Yirmiyahu. What Yirmiyahu says, "Imloi briti yom v'layla, kofa shemayim v'oretz lo something." If the bris means the Torah, that's what all the mufurishim learn. If not the Torah every day, then I didn't make the heavens and earth. Yeah. Which means if you don't have the Torah the way it's meant, then you're endangering the world. But if you learn the Torah with a new chayas, with a new brand, then you're bringing kiyum, and you're bringing the world to be the way it was meant to be. That's how it comes out. So the Rebbe said, "Behetam l'zeh muvan shegam ma she'anu moitzim chidush bo'olam liyoset loveh." Yeah, is kafi shenema b'posik. Yeah, and the pasuk that we read on Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, Hashomayim v'chadoshim v'oretz hachadosha asher ani oiseh. I think it's the pasuk in Yeshaya. And what he says, that I'm going to make a new heavens and a new earth, which ani oseh, I am going to make, noveh gam kein mi'achidush, sheyeh oz b'torah. Since it's going to be a whole new world, that's because it's going to be a whole new in Torah. So he says, a Torah Chadosha should tizgala, the new Torah, which will be a Mizgala then, and that's the new Torah of the Eibusha. So the Rebbe goes on to say, and absolutely pelletic is that, the Rebbe says that even by Matan Torah, by Har Sinai, and now also, all sorts of amazing things happen. But then afterwards the world went back to more or less to the way it is. And the way the world runs, even though Atzmas Ein Sof is behind the whole scene, who makes the yes is only Atzmas, but we don't see it, we don't really notice it. You follow? Everything's beheaded. It's just good things, really amazing things, but the general run, as you might call it, is beheaded, even after Matan Torah, even after everything. The Rebbe said, what's going to happen to Yosef over here is Hashomayim v'oretz hachadoshim asher ani oseh. So the Rebbe said, because there's going to be chidush Torah, mi'iti teite, the Torah is going to be new through the Eibush himself, but it's going to make the world in such a way, it's going to be new. Asher ani oseh, everybody will realize and see that I make it, it's me. In other words, that everybody's going to see, Atzmas Mami.
Oh, Mami.
Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Everybody will see Atzmas Mami. That's what the Rebbe says. And he writes in a footnote, the Rebbe, Tzori Kiyam, that's what the Rebbe writes, Tzori Kiyam, Hayim B'shas Matan Torah, L'chol HaPochis, L'ois HaShor, Rohu Et HaAtzim. As the Rebbe says, he's not sure about that. Maybe that's the Chiddush only of Liosef Lo.
Atzmus.
Aber es steht bei ihm, Atzmus ein lo Ziur. Atzmus ein lo Ziur. Es ist echt schon rot Atzmus. Atzmus ein lo Ziur.
Yeah.
Es ist echt schon rot Atzmus.
Oh, we'll work it out when we get to it. Just like that's going to be a complete impossibility. Atzmas Ein Sof to be fulfilled. In the same way, our ability to see it will also be a kasha. But nonetheless, it'll happen. You follow? In other words, that's nimna han nimnoid. And we'll be able to see Atzmas Ein Sof and still remain what we are. That's the whole thing. And we'll finish off the class. I'll just tell you a little story that reminds me. I think you heard the story the other night. It doesn't matter, you'll hear it again. I was once after I got married, I was in Kwachabad for Shabbos, and way back, I'm going back to the early coughs. I'm going back about 55 years ago, you know. It's, and I heard that there was a shir in Chassidus in the central shul on Shabbos morning. So I thought, oh, that sounds good. So I got out and I went to the mikveh, told you, and I come and said, no less than Rabbi Poli Khan. You heard of Rabbi Poli Khan? He was very, did you ever meet him? Oh, yes, sorry. He was a very amazing person, very famous chassan. And he was Baklava, very, very amazing Balmidas, you know. But he was a very fiery figure. And I remember he used to come into our meeting.
Say Kaddish.
Yeah, he used to say Kaddish. And that was Berkechain, yeah.
Oh, it was Berkechain.
Yeah. The Kaddish was Berkechain. Anyway, he was also at the shir, Berkechain. He was listening like the other people. And the one who was saying the shir was Poli Khan. He was giving over. So he gets into the Maimah onto Mashiach, you know, Mashiach.
Poli Khan verbrang for Simcha Goldberg's Ufruf in the Kfar.
Stayed in Rabbi Lebanoni's house for a long time.
And nobody understood Hebrew, and he didn't understand English. And for hours we were sitting there for bringing with them, and it was like...
You have a good memory. That's something down here. As a matter of fact, it's interesting, not a few days, but a week ago, I found an old picture of me standing in the courtyard outside the building of Tomchim Timon. You are in the picture, and Simcha Goldberg, he was at the same time as you.
Yeah.
And a few of the other guys are all standing there. It's really amazing. Wow. You're standing and Simcha Goldberg right alongside them. And I'm standing a bit further than everybody, and I'm sort of looking up at the building. I don't know, maybe I was pointing at something. I don't know exactly what was going on. Anyway, as Folly gets onto Moshiach, in the Shia, he's teaching, and he reads from the Maimah that when Moshiach will come, then the oil HaKol V'atzmusai, it's going to be Begoloi in the world. The air HaKol V'atzmusai, it's going to be Begoloi in the world. So everybody's learning, everybody's Maccabi, and all of a sudden, Rabbi Chaim, he says, what? He said, no, the oil from the Atzmus. He said, well, nicht Atzmus allein. He said, nicht Atzmus himself. You know, he sort of complained. He said, I'm in the air, and he said, what's wrong with the Atzmus? That's how he used to talk. Atzmus. Nicht Atzmus. So Folly Khan sort of paused and he said, that's a good point, you know, it has to be Medaik in the Maimah, you know what I'm saying? So Berge Kane said, ich verstehe, aber Mashiach hat kommen sein Atschmus. It's nicht euer Korb Atschmus. So that's what the Rabbi means here. That the Osid Lo, it's going to be as a Shomayim V'Zor Zani Chadoshim, Asher Ani Yoseh. It's going to be Boru, who made it? That's me. So you're going to see, it's going to be visible Atschmus. How is that going to be? How is that going to be possible? Trade Nemo by Atschmus. How's it possible?
That's wild.
Thank you, my gentlemen. It was so beautiful the way of Berkshire. He said, what's your with your Atzmos? Reb Foley was a very considerate, you know. So he accepted the point, you know. He said, yeah, but that take him to India. He said, if you might go out,